Good evening. A fast and furious storm has smashed Perth in a 20-minute rain blast that flooded dozens of suburbs and brought the city to a standstill. Cars were stuck on roads that were suddenly underwater. The SES called to 560 emergencies as homes and businesses were inundated, mainly in the southern and western suburbs. We have reporters from Rockingham to Kilometres standing by with live crosses, but first Joshua Dorr begins our coverage.
The skyline turned black and within seconds, a downpour. Heavy and unrelenting, the rain brought cars to a standstill as floodwaters rose around them. Rockingham, Subiaco, Cannington,
it's flooded.
And Claremont slammed, a powerful storm front stretching 322 kilometres, making its mark across the coast.
Get everything off the floor in the house because here it comes. It's coming in.
18 mils falling in Perth in just half an hour. Rockingham copping the leading edge of the winter system. 15 mils falling there in just 20 minutes. Harrison Street flooded instantly. Storm water rushing into Ross Limbruggen's garage. A familiar yet frustrating occurrence.
Once that builds up and the road's level, then up she comes this way. It's got nowhere to go.
Lunchtime plans were washed out at Lavoro Italian restaurant.
Look what's happening to my fryer. Look at this.
The floor was that much water, maybe that much even, so you could actually swim in there. Almost caught a shark in there.
Headaches shared at the Vibe Hotel on Hay Street, clearing out as water levels reached new heights on the city outskirts, trapping one car in Claremont who'd attempted to pass through. Another woman's walk back to her vehicle, more like a swim. Stairs flowed like a river at Notre Dame University in Fremantle, while winds were strong enough to blow over a giant KFC sign in Spearwood. That's where shopping centres also struggled to cope.
Oh my God, can you see that?
Leaking roofs at Garden City, eventually buckling under the pressure. Mandurah recorded 80 km/h gusts just before 1 p.m. Rottnest Island smashed with winds of 98 k's. And it's not even the worst of it. 5 cold fronts attacking our coast in 8 days.
We are expecting it to be the strongest cold front of the season so far.
The biggest of them all is due on Monday, set to bring another massive downpour of up to 70 mils and winds of more than 100 k's an hour.
There's also the concern for dangerous surf and higher than normal tides along the entirety of the west coast from Exmouth down to Albany.
The risk of flash flooding expected to be even greater on land, which is already soaked.
Also, the size of this weather system also means that areas even further north will be experiencing conditions that are unusual for this time of year.
Joshua Dorr, 9 News.
And Michael Stamp is in Rockingham tonight, one of the hardest hit areas. Michael, how is it there now?
It's wet, windy and wild, Tom, and it has been since this cold front hit early this afternoon. Rockingham copping 15 mils of rain in just 20 minutes. SES crews attended more than 130 jobs today, and that is expected to grow overnight. This severe weather warning has been cancelled, but there will be more rain in the morning.
Michael, thank you for the update. Stay warm and dry if you can. The storm caused traffic chaos across Perth suburbs. Emergency crews were called to Claremont, where a car was submerged in floodwaters. And Kelly Hayward, she's there tonight. Kelly, the driver had to climb out of a window.
Michael, she did. So the driver and their passenger became trapped in the middle of this puddle today, and the only way out was through their car windows. Now, as for how deep this pool of water is, well, in addition to extending all the way over to the other side of the bridge, it was deep enough to submerge the woman's Volkswagen SUV all the way up to the windows. Now, the front hit the western suburbs hard this afternoon, causing flash flooding and traffic chaos, including on Stirling Highway, while some of the surrounding businesses were also flooded. This is a shot of the Hurt Locker in Claremont with uncontrollable water coming through the roof. Now, some of these local businesses here will be forced to close as they begin their long clean-up. Michael?
Those pictures are amazing but devastating at the same time. Kelly, thank you. And the winter rain blast sparked a scare at the state's major maternity hospital. That's where Brittany Hoskins is tonight. Brittany, parents were turned away.
Michael, as the water damage was assessed, the hospital was forced to close a corridor to foot traffic. Like a lot of Subiaco, parts of King Edward Memorial Hospital were impacted by water. Thankfully, the majority of the hospital remained fully operational, and 9 News has been told there was no risk to staff or patients. It did, however, leave a couple of dads out in the cold.
Unfortunately, we were turned away, so I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen now. So yeah, got a 2-hour drive home, going to wait and see what happens. The nurses think that I was allowed to come up, but they're saying apparently it's under different authority or something.
Michael, with more rain to come, the hospital will be keeping a close eye on its ceiling in case of any further water damage.
Britt, thank you. And Sherry Biggs is in our north at Hillary's tonight. Sherry, what's causing this barrage of cold fronts?
Well, Tomo, while it is normal for us to see this sort of weather system during the winter months, it's unusual for us to see as many as 5 in just over a week. And there's a few climate drivers behind this wet start to winter. La Nina ended back in autumn, but warmer than normal sea surface temperatures in WA's northwest produces more moisture and cloud bands for cold fronts to tap into coming up from the southwest. It's bringing heavier downpours to the west coast and pushing the rain further into our agricultural areas inland. But we're just 9 days into the month, and this afternoon's deluge bumped up the totals. We now have 75% of our average rainfall already in the gauge, marking the wettest start to July in 21 years for Perth. And we're ahead of our yearly rainfall as well, the wettest January to June period in 5 years. Now, the rest of winter could look very similar to this, Tomo, because a negative Indian Ocean dipole is set to kick in later this season, which will mean above average rainfall for winter and spring as well.